The last thing I need to show you is how to make stacking a habit. So you're thinking, okay, that's easy, just do it. And for you, that might be the case. Now, I found that building any new habit can be tricky, and building a new email habit might even be harder because there's so many pitfalls that can pull you back into your old way of working, and they're subtle. So for a day you're stacking, and then a week goes by and you realize that you're not anymore. As a team at Double Gemini, we've learned a lot about building habits because we have to teach people our productivity techniques around email management, meeting management, project management, and other things. And we have to do so in a way that makes them stick at both the individual and team level. So I'm going to show you what I know about building a new email habit from working with clients for the last decade. So you've got your current email habit. I'm going to call it your de facto email habit. It's what you're doing now. I'm not sure about you, but for most people I've observed there's two big problems with their de facto email habit. The first is they don't have a well-defined process for handling their email. The problem with this is that things slip through the cracks, or they have to constantly check to make sure that nothing was missed. And the result is that email occupies too much mind space and creates anxiety. The second issue is that they're emailing intermittently throughout the day. And I'm sure you'll relate to this or know people who do this. So it's been well documented that it takes 15 minutes to get in the zone and at least 10 minutes of continuous work to produce meaningful output. You've all probably experienced that before. So what I'm showing you here is the anatomy of a 1-hour task, completed with concentration. Well, what happens when you're interrupted by an email during the warm-up? It resets the clock and you've got to warm up again before you start working. Each interruption means you go through the cycle again. A longer interruption and the more time you have to spend warming up. And suddenly, a task that was supposed to take 1 hour has extended to over 2 hours. Does that sound familiar? The de facto habit is a terrible way to work. It fragments your attention, which kills productivity, limits your available mind space, and creates anxiety. It's no accident that the average worker spends 6 to 8 additional hours outside of work just to get caught up. If you stack, you don't have to be part of this statistic. Stacking is better in so many ways. To start, the process is complete and efficient. I'm confident that when I'm done with email on a given day that nothing has slipped through the cracks. And this confidence gives me the ability to email when it's time to email and work when it's time for me to do my other work. With Stack, I'm productive emailing and I'm productive doing my other work. I'm in control and the difference is liberating. Keep in mind that your de facto email habit is always going to be there. That's because you can never really get rid of an old habit. You can only replace it with a new one. That's what the research says, and that's what I've experienced as well. To pull off your new habit, it has to be better in every way, and you have to avoid the pitfalls that are trying to pull you back into your old way of doing things. I'm going to show you the core things you need to pull off to switch to stacking as a habit. But keep in mind there are a lot of pitfalls. If I showed you all of them, it would be overwhelming. Actually, in the first pass, I included all of them into this video, but it was too much information. If you still struggle, reach out and I'll help you get over the hump. Habits are kicked off by triggers. They're the things that pull you into the habit, often whether you intend to do the action or not. The cool thing is that you can bury triggers to stop you from performing a habit and put in place new triggers to pull you into the new habit you're trying to build. What do you think the biggest trigger is that pulls people into their de facto email habit? I'll let you think about that for a second. Time's up. It's notifications. And I'm talking about both desktop and mobile notifications. You've got to turn them off. It's bold and it might be scary to some of you, but you have to dictate the terms of how you engage with your email. You can't let a program whose alerts are set by default be in the driver's seat here. Now this might sound dramatic, but every single pop-up notification that you check is losing a little bit of yourself. Now, even if you turn off alerts, you'll still check your email, just a little less often, which is going to make a big difference in your concentration. For the stack method, the triggers are in your calendar and they're set to recur day after day. You might have more or less time that I have segmented here, or your stacking sessions might be scheduled at different times. That's okay. These calendar entries are there to remind you that it's more efficient to do your email in batches than as one-offs. Remember, you might get the occasional email that you need to drop things to respond to, but that's the exception, not the rule. 99% of your emails can be handled during your stacking time. Even with these triggers, the changes might not happen on the first day or the first week that you're stacking. That's okay. Stick with it, and your work patterns will change and you'll be in control. Rewards are the next piece about habit building that I want to cover. They're the things that make habits sticky. They drive you to do the habit over and over and over again. So Pepsodent comes out with toothpaste in the early 1900s when not a lot of people were brushing. Now their toothpaste had a built-in reward. Their recipe included citric acid, mint oil, and other chemicals that would create a tingling sensation in your mouth. This reward was so compelling that within a decade, half of the population of the US was brushing its teeth. Rewards make habits sticky, and good habits are transformational. It turns out there's already a reward with de facto email habits, and it's a biological one. As humans, we're literally wired to get a boost of dopamine every time we get new information. It doesn't matter if it's useful information, it just matters that it's new. This makes it really compelling to check your email all the time, because every time you do, you get this little reward. If you use the stack method, you'll get the dopamine rush because that's biological and built in, and you'll get another reward that's even better. You'll feel a sense of clarity after you stack, the kind of clarity that I find is usually reserved for vacations or showers or when you're in a car or a train or a plane, when you can think free and clear of distractions. And you get this because with the stack method, once you've cleared your inbox and worked through your action folders, you get closure on your past emails. You know with 100% confidence that nothing in the past was dropped. You're on top of it all. The only thing you have to deal with, which is far more manageable, are the emails coming in today. I can tell you from personal experience that it's liberating. It feels amazing to be in that state. I actually stack before I need to do anything creative or complex. I stacked before every session of script writing for this video series, and it made a huge difference. I could approach the work with more mind space because I felt in total control over all of my other work, especially my email communications. When you're doing this on your own, pay really close attention to how you feel after emptying your inbox and you're finished working through your action folders. And remember, this is before you start dealing with emails that come into your inbox for the day. That little moment between the past and the future is my present to you. There's one more piece I want to cover with you that'll help you lock in stacking as a new habit, and that's the motivation to do it. For the people I've worked with, the primary motivation that drives their de facto email habit is responsiveness. And this can come from social pressure, the expectations of a manager or a customer or coworkers to be responsive on email, and or internal pressure. I've taught a lot of people who feel that they're not responding fast enough, that it'll slow down their coworkers or slow down their customers. I get it, I've been there too. So I let people know if something is burning up and they need me right away to call me or text me. I'm not someone who checks my email every 5 minutes because I'm working. And it also helps to remember that most people shoot off an email to you and then their attention goes elsewhere. They're not sitting there staring at their computer waiting for a reply. Chances are that if you were in a meeting or out at the doctor's, they could wait a bit for a reply and nothing would fall apart. The people who stack value productivity over responsiveness. They value getting it done. Once I started stacking, I found that people valued me way more because I was able to double my output on a weekly basis, and that's not an exaggeration. And the ironic part is that my customers often see me as more responsive than everyone else because with the stack method, nothing slips through the cracks. If they shoot me an email, I'm reliable. I'm 100% reliable about responding. The secret to locking in, to anchoring this motivation, is to relate stacking to how you identify yourself. I have a friend who works out every day and has worked out every day for over 30 years, has literally never missed a day. I asked him how he pulled it off. His response was that it's just who he is. He's someone who works out every day. Is part of your identity that you're organized? Organized people stack every day. If that's not you, is your identity that you deliver? People that deliver stack. Or are you someone who's reliable? Reliable people stack their email. The point here is to make this part of your identity. Say this with me in your head. I am someone who stacks daily. I am someone who is in total control of my email daily. I am someone who is successful, which is why I stack daily. Make it part of your identity and it'll be so much easier to stick with, especially in the long run. It's much easier to stick to any habit when you make it part of who you are. Now you've been through the entire video series. You've got all of the knowledge required to make this happen. That said, there are some specific details about putting this all into practice, and those details are in the how-to videos for emptying your inbox to 0 to start with, how to set up and use keyboard shortcuts, how to turn off notifications, and so on. Definitely pay attention to these, especially the one on keyboard shortcuts. I've built everything you need to be successful into these additional how-to videos and with the handouts that are on the Double Gemini site. If you need additional help, we've got the live stack class that we can offer you, and maybe even more importantly, if you want this for your team or organization, we can come in with our higher-end stack email management office setup and fundamentally change your organization's culture with respect to email. And remember, the more productive you are, the better things you can do for yourself, your organization, your family, and the world at large. My name is Prashanth Nair. I'm the CEO of Double Gemini. I hope you enjoyed this series. Good luck and happy stacking.